Now, when I start my business, I need to get an EIN number. I need to be registered with the Secretary of State, and now I have to get a BOI report. You know what I mean? So even to get sometimes people to get an EIN number and register with the state sometimes it's like pulling teeth. But to get sometimes the loans, the grants, the advancement of your business, it has to be registered. It has to be set up legally in the right way. So now you got to get EIN, register with the state, and now your BOI report. So it's a lot now to start. You just can't forget. The thing is all the people who had businesses before, right? They give you a year to do it. And I feel like when December 31st comes, and now I have to get a BOI report. You know what I mean? When December 31st comes, when January 1st comes, that's when you start accumulating the debt, the 591. The first day, January 1, is $591. Now that I was able to do it, you could do it too. I am having a class every month to help you avoid what I went through, to help you set up the BOI report for your businesses moving forward. So you're going to take the class. It's 2 hours. We go through the BOI. So when you finish the class, you should have done the BOI for at least 1-2 of your own businesses, as well having a complete understanding to be able to pass that information on to someone else. So the $149 I'm charging for this class by far is a drop in the bucket to the $17,981 you have to pay the IRS if you don't do this. Okay? So click the link. You know what you're supposed to do, right? Click the link, fill out your information, pay the $149, and learn how to avoid paying the government more money than need be. The BOI report, it's a part of us now.
How do you make it interesting?
All across the country, these are pockets called empowerment zones that the government wants to push to develop. It could be rural or urban. And if you are a business owner, that strategically people develop in those areas because it helps them save money. So that's why certain areas, they think it's gentrification. Well, it's really the government helping to stimulate dilapidated, depressed areas. So it's incentivized to push development. And so a lot of people kind of downsize and go, well, they just coming in here, but they're stimulating an area that was depressed. It was it wasn't good housing, good stores or resources, but developers come in, put value, affordable housing, reignite the area, but it's a tax incentive. They get huge tax breaks because in those areas, they're gonna make what? Millions of dollars, whether it's homes, commercial real estate. So why would I develop? I'm a developer here. Of course I am. Why? Because I'm gonna make a shitload of money. But how do I lower my tax debt if I develop in these areas? So knowing the map, knowing the empowerment zone maps is really important because it's a map. Each city, major city, there are maps drawn around, and if you develop in these areas, buy in these areas, it's a huge tax savings. It's also like that with energy efficient stuff, right? So if I'm a developer or if I'm in real estate, let's just say I fix and flip houses, but I'm a fix and flip in an area that is in the empowerment zone map to help reduce my taxation even more. Most of the times, if you go to HUD, HUD.gov, if you go to HUD.com or HUD.gov, you'll see the empowerment zone map. And then you could go, okay, well, if I develop, if I buy, fix and flip in these areas, then I can get a tax incentive for my real estate or for what I'm developing. Not only that, if the materials I'm using is energy efficient or has the green leaf seal, there's another tax advantage, right? Because what government does is to incentivize industry. So if I don't want to use the old aluminum, bad for you windows, right? We're trying to reduce our carbon footprint. So what I'm going to incentivize people to do, the government is going to say, okay, well, buy these windows, buy these doors, you're going to get 50% off, right? Or we'll reduce your tax debt by 30% of the cost. Well, guess what? As a builder or as a real estate and developer, I'm going to buy the thing that's most cost effective for me. And the biggest thing for developers is taxation. So they're very strategic on where they develop develop properties or industries. So if you look around, even around here, and you look in certain places, you'll see over by Greenbrier, it's like, oh my God, they're building townhomes left and right. If you look in certain areas, it's incentivized by the federal government because they get huge tax savings.
So it's no longer considered gentrification. It's more so, what do you call it, re-empowerment?
Right, they're empowerment zones because on the front end, yes, on the front end, people look at it as gentrification because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Is taking something old and making it new again, right? You're renewing it, but the reason behind the renewing is a tax incentive, right? It's not like I want to come in your community and purposely displace Black and brown people, right? I'm a developer, I'm here to make money, and the government is telling me, oh, if you develop in this area, not only are you going to make a profit, but you're going to reduce your tax debt because you are revitalizing a depressed area. So if I'm a money person and develop, I'm going to go in that area.
Of course. Yeah.
It's business. It's business. So the empowerment zones across the country matter. And if you are the smallest real estate developer to the hugest developer, you want to be strategic in where you develop. And the empowerment zones are that. They're huge tax savings. In rural areas too. So if you go really far out in farmland or outside of metro areas, they need revitalization too. Those places are food deserts. Some of them don't have internet.
Is it all money though, you think?
Oh, most of it is all money.
Like that's the main incentive from the government, money.
No, well, the government's incentive is to push industry. Right, so the government's job is to help us, whether we like it or not, because they don't have to incentivize people to develop, right? They don't have to do that. They don't have to give you a tax break for developing in an urban area or a rural area. But they do that because developers, business people are thinking about money. So they go, well, where can I make the most money and reduce my tax debt? Well, wherever the government tells me to go. That's where I'm going to go.
Let me see the empowerment.
Let me see the empowerment zone. Where are the zones? And what's in those areas that I could buy? What land can I buy? Where can I develop? That's what that's about. And so sometimes people get really caught up on, they're coming in and displacing us. They don't care if you're Black or white.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. If you ain't creating, I'm not even gonna go there.
So the empowerment zones are huge are zones where the government incentivizes development and they give you tax breaks on that. And then you couple the empowerment zone with the energy efficient credits because they're trying to push industry. They're trying to push industry. I mean, they're trying to push that green, reducing our carbon, so if you have windows and things that, and HVACs and doors that'll regulate heat and air, I'm gonna incentivize the builder, right? There's another tax savings, right? So, and if he's buying 100 windows, does he not want a discount or a break? I will buy the windows the government incentivizes. I gotta get 100 doors in this subdivision. So I would go where the government is incentivizing. So that's pretty much what it's all about. The same way with energy efficient cars, the hybrids. There's a tax incentive for that. You get up to $7,500, right? You and me, the layman, if I buy a plug-in car. So what does that do? If I'm looking to buy a new car next year, I'm thinking about buying a hybrid. Why? Because the government is going to help me reduce my tax debt by $7,000. So in the world in which inflation is a thing, if I can get $7,000 back, I'm going to buy the hybrid.
Every time.
Every time. And so what they do is they bank land. So sometimes if due through most people not having a good recession plan, so if you die and you pass away and no one buys it, that's a way it could go into the land bank. If the government has purchased dilapidated old resources, if almost like unclaimed land, right, goes to the land bank. And so what the government does is they hold a lot of it and then they sell it to developers or people for low cost.
So like an auction.
Auction, for sure.
That's crazy.
For sure. So most developers, if you're really smart, you'll go to the land bank first or someone and you'll buy it from the government. And then not only are you getting it inexpensive or cheap, but it's also a tax incentive if it's in one of those empowerment zones.
Dang.
Right?
So you're getting cheap land,
yeah,
and you're getting a tax incentive.
Yeah. So an example of a refundable tax credit would be one of the most popular ones, which is EIC, the Earned Income Tax Credit. That is a credit that gives you a refund, right? It gives you money, potentially, based on what your income is. Normally, that credit gives you a refund, right? The American Opportunity Credit, right? The government gives you a tax refund if you go to college and you have some you have out-of-pocket expenses. That's a refundable tax credit. And I think people get confused with non-refundable tax credits. They don't give you a refund. They could, depending on your tax liability,
Yes.
right? So they will lower your tax debt, and lowering your tax debt helps you not owe as much.
Yep.
And so I think people get those two really confused between refundable, that gives you a refund, and a non-refundable tax credit, right? And so higher earners, people who make almost like 60 grand and up, kind of need to play in the non-refundable zone, right? Non-refundable means it doesn't give you a refund, it lowers your tax debt, right? It gives you offset. So it gives you credits to lower your taxable income, which then could determine how much you owe the IRS. People who are low income play in the refundable sandbox, right? So if you make $30,000 and under, you're looking for refundable credits, things that are going to give you a refund, right?
To get the cash.
To get the money, right? Because you're already in a particular lower income bracket. So that's how that's working for you. Prime example, the plug-in hybrid credit, right, is non-refundable.
Okay.
So if you made $30,000, it's not going to give you $7,000. It is going to be applied to lower your tax debt. Now, if you made 70 grand, it's going to give you $7,000 that could result into a tax refund, right? It could, but it doesn't necessarily give you money. It gives you credits to offset and lower your tax debt. So if you're at 70,000, it's all income based. The non-refundable tax credit plays around with your income to lower your taxable income. The refundable tax credit just and gives you the money, right? It's like, boom, $7,000 is there, right? The non-refundable is on the back end. It's like, well, this person makes 70 grand. They bought the Tesla Model Y. We're going to give them up to 7,500 and lower their tax debt. So now instead of them owing us 8,000, they may only owe us 4,000. But they paid 8,000 in their tax bucket. Now they get a refund of 4,000. It can result into a refund, but it is just washed on the back end very differently. And so people get really confused that every tax credit is the same, but it's not. You got to know if it's a refundable tax credit or a non-refundable. It has been a rough tax season. It's been a rough tax season. There's so many people who are mismanaging their money. So many people, like the people that are making the people that are making like 50 grand have the same issue as the people that are making 150 grand. They both complain that they don't have enough money. Both people, right? The person that's making 50 grand that has 2 children is complaining, is giving me the same word track as the person who makes 150 grand with 3 children. And both of them, the root cause is both of them overspend. They both are buying and consuming stuff that they don't need, that doesn't really serve them.
So what would their solution be?
Their solution is budgeting. It's money management.
So how do you get someone to want to budget without it being dismissive or boring?
I mean, some things it just is what it is, right? It's like taxes. It is what it is. I can't make taxes no more exciting, sexy, or funny. It's just a part of it. So money management is, and you have to be to the point of like where you've reached your ceiling. You're so sick and tired of not having enough money. You're like, oh my God, it's like 15 more days in the month. I don't have enough money. It's more days in the month than I have money, right? I am running out. And so people have to get really sick and tired of running out of money, right? Because you can't cut the days. You can't cut the month short, so then you got to cut your spending. So I think that people got to want to stop, and they got to remove themselves out of the rat race. It's difficult. It was difficult for me, but it's hard to hear people complain about money, needing more money, and they're not kind of being good stewards of God's money that they're given today. Because the person who's making 50 would love to be where the person is who's making the 150. And the person at 150 thinks they need to be making 250. And some of my clients who are at 250 to $1 million still don't have enough cash flow on hand. So then I go, it's never a money thing, it's a management thing. We're not managing the money properly. Because if it was about money, then we should be good, right? Everyone should be okay. And we should be like, oh, I made 150 because I was trying to make it to 6 figures, because that's the buzzword. If I could just make 6 figures, that's the thing. Oh, I should be good. Well, now we're at 6 figures and we're still complaining about not having enough money, not doing this. Oh my God, I just need to make 7 figures. And I need 2 commas. Okay, so now you're at the 2 comma club and you're still complaining about not having enough money, not having enough cash flow to grow your business, why? Why is that? Did we buy more things along the way, along the journey? Did you overconsume? Did you get that lifestyle creep? You probably did, and that's what I see, right? And so that's why I do the free money management classes. So.
Would you rather promote to someone to, hey, go make more money, or hey, get your finances right and budget?
It's definitely get your money right. It's definitely budget first, right? Because if you can't manage a little bit of money, you won't be able to manage a lot. And you'll just be like, shoot, you'll just keep repeating the same mistake and you'll burn yourself out trying to make more money. Instead of managing what you have, right? Because that's the name of the game, is to keep more of what you make, not spend more of it. So if you make $100, the name of the game is, okay, how do I keep as much of this 100? Okay, so if I only spend $20 every month, I should have a profit of $80. But if I make 100 and every month I'm spending $80, then you're going to keep trying to make more money. You're going to be like, oh, I need to make 200. Okay, so you make 200 and guess how much you spend? 180, because you have bad money management. You just keep consuming based on how much money you bring in. And so I think people need to manage the money they have at the same time trying to generate more money. Sometimes people really need to generate more money. I mean, it is a fact. It's, you know what I mean? But it is a floor. It is a floor. You do need to generate a certain amount of money to be able to take care of yourself. However, once you're able to do that, you need to then generate more money and save. You have to put more money away than you put out. It's really easy. It's subtraction and addition. You need to be able to put more money away than that's going out. It's almost like having your heat up to 80 with all the windows and doors open. Everything is going out. You're not keeping anything. So then you just keep raising the heat. Oh my God, it's so cold in here. Where you have bad insulation, right? Your windows aren't efficient. So it's always going to be drafty in your house.
So in that example, the windows the installation would be
poor, your management system, right? So if you have a poor management system, that's the windows and the doors, right? Keeping the window cracked, having the door open, right? Not getting a storm door, not upgrading your windows. That's your money management system. And the heat symbolizes cash flow. And so you keep turning the heat up without updating your windows and doors.
So after after someone gets their budget down, they done practice it for a few months, they done got it locked in. What becomes the next step for them once they have their budget right and they want to make more money?
I mean, after that, so once you've been able to master your own budget and you can cut out access and you can secure the windows and doors from excess air going out, then you can start to retain more, right? You're like, well, okay, so my heat doesn't have to be up to 80. I could put my heat on 74 because I'm retaining more. I don't have to put out as much energy. And the energy I put out, I'm retaining more, right? So I can keep more inside, right? The reason why people need to keep making more money, right, is because the windows and doors are open. It keeps letting out everything. You have to be able to retain and keep. That is the name of the game. Retain and keep. You're super strong, like, you know, this is amazing, you know, you're going to make it through the other side, like, you know, this is
So is it more so people trying to motivate you, or is it like them asking for like guidance?
It was both. It was both, you know. It was both. It was people like, you know, your story was so impactful. It helped me, you know, because I don't want to have a huge fall to change and adjust my spending habits, right? And sometimes, you know, nobody wants to do that, but typically that's what has to happen, right? You got to lose some stuff to appreciate what you have, and I just feel like we shouldn't have to go through that. You should learn from someone else's story and realize I need to tighten up, right? I need to like.
So if that's the case, should people be seeking stories like that?
For sure, you want to align or find people that make a difference in you, that have some impact. I think a lot of times we get coaches in a lot of different areas, right? You want to be a better football player, basketball player. You want to be a better business person. You know, you want to invest in money, but no one is really there to help you manage money. A coach in helping you understand and manage your money. There's really people that are seeking that. I need a money coach, not necessarily someone who's going to help you make more money, but to help you keep more money, right? Look at your numbers, right? Because a lot of times when we pull the curtain back, we're embarrassed because usually people are not making as much as they say, right? They kind of inflate it and like, oh yeah, I'm making 6 figures. Are you? But that's okay, right? It's such an intimate topic. People don't like talking about money, especially how much they bring in or the lack thereof. And so you really need someone without judgment that's going to look at your numbers and go, hey, you are overspending here. Right? And then there's no ego. There's no ego involved. You don't have to say, well, I bought this and I got this you overspent here.
Straight business.
And you need accountability. Right? And so sometimes it's like a child. When you say you can't have this, they go, why? I need to have this. You don't need to have that. You don't. I mean, I had that go through it myself. I did not need a cable box for every television. That was so wasteful. But at the time, because I was like, oh, I have more than enough money, why would I want to give Comcast more money? It was like $800 a month. And we don't think about it because in our head, we're like, well, I got enough cash flow coming in. I got enough money. I don't need to give them that type of money. We don't even watch all the TVs. Most of the TVs have never even been turned on. Some of the TVs that are upstairs on the 3rd floor have never saw a on switch. But it has a cable box. just in case.
Just in case.
The one time in the year that we go upstairs on the third floor, in the second room, in the eternity, like really unnecessary. So a lot of times you got, to have someone help you and coach you through that, you need to have a relationship with the person. You need to be able to trust them and feel completely vulnerable with them so that when they're helping you through this process, they can identify why you feel the way you feel, why you overspend, right? Or why you don't spend, right? Because some people go in reverse. They hold on to money and don't invest it to make more money. Some people acquire money and hold it like this, almost covet it. Well, that's the pendulum swinging the complete opposite way, right? The person that is super frugal, they don't spend money and investing in it. They always want to know the cost of something. They're holding on tight. They're penny pinching every single thing. They could pay for a little bit of peace, but they don't. They covet it and hide it. So there's two mindsets there. You got to swing. The pendulum has to kind of rest in the middle somewhere, you got to figure that out. And I've been through all of those, and I understand that. I understand that. And so where I am now, it helps me help other people get to a better relationship with money.
Do you still feel like a poor little rich girl?
No, thank God, not anymore. I mean, sometimes I kind of play little tricks, little on my mind, but very little now. Now I'm very clear on what I need to do to move forward in my life, and that is really to let go a lot of the baggage, right? That is to loose all the change, the things, the damages, my mistakes, the things that I've done. And it's also, I've went through things that help me have a better relationship with money. Money no longer controls me. The feeling of buying something no longer gets me warm and fuzzy, that I want to keep feeling that feeling, right? The feeling now the gratification comes into me helping people. So now I need to help more people to feel warm and fuzzy again, not spending the money.
How would you describe a poor little rich girl? Like, what does she look like? She or he? What do they look like, and what are their habits?
Oh, the poor little rich girl. Well, she is probably a little materialistic, right? She emphasizes value in the wrong places, and she also has a poor person's mindset, right? So she spends money on liabilities and not assets. She's spending money on things or she's just not making good financial decisions. She's thinking about right now. And most poor people genuinely have a displacement with money. They don't know where to place the value because they're in survival mode. So when you're poor financially, you're really looking for right now. How can I pay my bills right now, regardless, right? So, think about the person who's poor. They usually pay the most money, the most service charges, the most fees, right? Because if I pay a portion of my bill today, I get a late fee and I get interest charges. They're not thinking of the late fees and the interest, how much that is, right? So if that's a poor person's mindset. The rich person is like, well, I'm going to pay my bills on time, even if that means I have to eat hot dogs and baked beans for the next 2 weeks. I dare not give the bank an additional money, because the money that I could be giving them could go towards something else that could help me change my financial situation. Versus the poor person is like, well, they displace money. They place money, the value of money in different pockets. And so the poor person will pay half the bill, right? Take that money for a instant gratification, go out, buy a shirt, eat out. Now, have they displaced it? They have. And now you owe the bank an additional $75. $75 times, let's say you do that all year, is extra $900. Could you not have done something with the $900? Same thing with credit, right? You're paying interest on money that you really don't have, but you're like, I want it now. And every month I'll just pay a portion of it. Well, that's how banks make money. They bank on you having a poor person's mindset. They guarantee it. They double down that you don't know the value of money, that you displace it, and you'll keep making us rich because you'll never pay us off. You'll keep giving us a portion every month while we make money off the interest.
Like you're proving the bank right.
Absolutely. That's why do you think interest and credit cards are it's $1 billion industry? The banking system they bank on your dysfunction. They make money off you not having the discipline to pay it off. They make the money off you having an emotional connection to buying something now, knowing you really can't afford it or don't need it, right? That's what credit is, right? Basic consumer credit, not leveraging business credit.
Yeah.
Basic consumer credit is you buying something now because you want it or think you need it, but you don't have the money to get it. And so you go, well, they're going to pay for it now because I really need this TV. I really want this sofa. I want to go on this vacation. I want to buy whatever. I'm going to use my credit card to buy this, and I'm going to keep giving the bank, paying them back a piece. And so the bank is banking on that. They're like, oh, we know most people are poor mindset. They're displaced. They're emotionally manipulated to buy stuff. And so that's how we make money. Millions of money. So poor little rich girl is that poor person's mindset, not having a good relationship with money. Not even good, but being emotionally tied to money that you're being manipulated by your dysfunction. And the banks, credit cards, mortgage companies, car companies, we're in a capitalist, consumeristic economy. And so they double down on that, and we are eating it up by the boatloads. We're like, yes, I need more. I need a bigger house. I need more clothes. I need more stuff. I need more lotions. I need more lipstick. I need more. And then you keep putting it on your credit card because you feel you need it today. You don't have a reward system. You're impatient. Almost like a child who can't wait, who doesn't have discipline. You don't have anything in place to say, okay, I'm going to reward myself. If I do this, then I'll buy myself the lipstick. If I get this done, then I'll treat myself to a vacation. If my business can make 30% over last year's goals, then I'll treat myself on a vacation. If I can save $1,200, I'll take half of that and buy myself a Louis bag. Or something designer, or something that I want, right? We're impulsive. We're like children. We just we like give in to the whim. We're like, I want it, I gotta do it now. So that is, long story short, the poor little rich girl, right? She is a poor person's mindset. She doesn't understand money, is displaced. She has the value in the wrong buckets, but she has a rich person's spending habits. She's spending like she's got it. She's spending like she's, a trust fund baby. She's spending like she's so cool and she's got it, but she's poor in her economically, in her money, and she's poor in her mindset. And so, and it's a duality on it because it's like, oh, poor little rich girl. She's sad. She's lonely, but she's rich and maybe in certain areas that she's not tapping into. So I say all that to say that's the poor little rich girl. I would start small. If you, and the type of person you are. Are you a finisher? Are you the person that starts at 1 and can get to 10? If you are a finisher, then you can probably start with a larger goal that says, hey, I am going to save, one of my short-term goals is to be able to pay my student loans off. Whatever those goals are financially, you set a goal and you finish it. Right? There's certain people who can finish. They have a natural discipline. They can hold themselves accountable. They don't really need a lot of support. They just maybe need the system. Okay, show me what to do again. Okay, so the system is whatever I bring in, 30% of that should go to my household where I live, right? And so 10% should go to like my wants. So out of that 10%, I'm gonna make sure that every month I stick between my 10% budget. Right? Every month, my budget, that 10% of my monthly income, let's say is $600. I cannot spend more than $600 a month on my wants. That's at Target. That may be my hair. That may be my nails. that may be going to the movies, that may be eating out. My budget is $600, and hold yourself accountable for that. If you're a finisher and you're a person that's super disciplined, you set your budget and you hold yourself accountable for it. Now, if you're not, and you know you need accountability and you lack discipline and you're typically not a finisher, how do you know you're not a finisher? You typically start and stop a lot of stuff. Right? You take a course, but you don't ever execute and finish it, right? You start a new idea, but you don't finish it, right? You're like, oh, I wish I coulda, woulda, but you never do the things that you wanted to do, right? You have an issue with it getting out of the starting block. You can't get into the race. You're always false starting. You're like, oh my God, I gotta tie my shoe again. These cleats don't work. No, I gotta put on a new outfit. Oh, I'm tight. I gotta keep stretching, right? You're a false starter. You never get into the game. You need a community. You need a coach or someone that's gonna hold you accountable that can help you. You typically, that person has more emotional ties into the spending. It's usually a reason why they can't stick to the budget, and it's usually psychological. So you'll need someone to help you unpack that. Why do you overspend? Why can't you, if you say you can only afford $600, why can't you stick to $600? It's something that's emotionally and psychologically manipulating you to keep overspending, right? Because you should have some self-control to go, hey, I'm in Target, I'm only going to spend $300. But why can we not stick to the $300? We're enticed by all the stuff. So if that's you, then maybe you do need to do Instacart. That's why I don't go into Target anymore. That's why I have discipline to go when I'm on Instacart. There's nothing dangling in me. I'm not excited by the aisle and the lights. Wow. I stick to my list. I'm like, oh, I need this, and this. I hit send. Now, does it cost me a little bit more? In theory, I'm actually saving money, because if I was physically walking inside of Target, I would spend almost 30% more. So if you are a person, you have to figure out what your deficit is. What is the thing that emotionally triggers you to overspend?
Is there such thing as like a financial therapist?
Probably. I don't.
That sounds like somebody causing that issue in your life.
No, for sure. And sometimes, people who overspend in eating out, they always eat out. And usually sometimes that's a heavy part of their budget. Food or entertainment or expenses. It's the stuff that makes us feel good. I love going to brunch. I love eating out. I love socializing. I love being out all the time. Right? But that's money. That costs.
Yeah, well, no discipline to say I don't need it.
No discipline to say I don't need it. Or to say, okay, well, guess what? My budget is $300. Nobody is saying don't indulge in the things that you like to do, but don't overspend it. Budget it out. If you make $3,000 a month, don't spend $1,500 on your wants. On the Targets, and I went to the brunch, and I got my nails done. And this week we're going here. It's Atlanta, honey. You can spend a lot on a lot. In a day. Then you're like, I got to valet park. I got to pay, you know what I mean? I got a tip. You go out 3 times a week. Listen, it's going to cost you. Then say, you know what? I can't do 3 days a week. I'm only going to eat out 1 day a week. And that's it. That's the most I can afford. And it's okay to say, I don't want to go outside of my budget. It's also psychological what budget means. Budget to a lot of people has a negative connotation of lack. Some people think budgeting means I don't make enough money, but that's not the case. Rich people budget.
Definitely have to.
Right? Budgeting is just holding yourself accountable based upon your pie, your chart. Your spending budget can grow, right? You can say, okay, well, when I made $50,000, my entertainment budget was $500 a month. Now that I make $100,000, sometimes we don't readjust our budget. We usually then don't budget. We just start swiping and spending. They go, wait a minute, it used to be $500. If I stick to the $500, or let me just increase it to $700. Okay, I make $250,000. I'm only going to spend $1,000 a month on my extracurricular activities. Why do you have to spend $2,000? stick within your budget. Budget out the things that you like to do, and we don't do that. And I know a lot of people don't do that because I didn't do it. And I talk to people and they don't budget. They don't know where their money is. They don't know what's happening or what's going on. And it's vulnerable. They feel insecure and then they get defensive. So it's a really headspace of like dysfunction.
So budgeting and financial issues are all mental.
It's very much mental.
Dang.
It's very much mental. 'Cause it's the conditioning that how we were taught about money. It's all a part of the framework on how this country is set up, how money is viewed, that's why you don't learn about money in school. You don't learn about budgeting. You don't learn about debt, savings, credit. You don't learn about any of that in school. You don't learn about taxes. You don't learn about mortgaging. You don't learn about any of that. You learn how to add, subtract, multiply. You learn about you know what I mean? You learn about I'm not going to say it's not important because it is. You should know how to add and subtract. You definitely should know how to read and write. You should know some history, right? But I think as you get to high school, you should learn functionality. You should learn how to operate as an adult. But they don't want you to have discipline. They want you to spend. They want you to buy everything.
Learn the hard way.